Hello. First of all, like this conversation is just freaking epic. And I'm always excited to talk to my sister from another mother, my HR heart sister, my sister on so many levels. That is Sandy Harvey. So we're having a fabulous day today. Sandy, how is your day going?
Fantastic, because I'm talking to you. Yay.
Um, but there's no nachos.
I know. Not yet. We need to have a nacho date coming up, coming
Well,
soon.
that's already scheduled.
Yes.
Um, so the long running joke that we have in the HRUnite community or HR community here in Michigan is Sandy will work for nachos.
She will.
So when I ask Sandy to come do speaking engagements for me when she comes off her busy schedule of being of service to the world, I usually have to plan a nacho bar or nachos in some capacity. And then she says yes. So for those of you that want to have conversations for connection with Sandy, if there are nachos or tacos, preferably nachos, um, that will likely result in a positive connection. So
Woo!
Sandy
Yes.
cannot be more excited to be talking to you today. Um,
Yes.
for everybody that comes on HRUnite Convos for Connection, we ask everybody the same two questions. Now we are into this. So you don't know when I'm interviewing Sandy, but let's just say this is going to be out by the time this conversation is released. So some people may figure it out, but we're asking everybody the same two questions. And the first question we pose to all of our guests is, Sandy, why don't you tell us about your HR story? So what led you to be a steward of people?
Yeah. So great question. And I had to think about this because I came through HR from learning and development. So a lot of training, a lot of helping people have those aha moments, and that was very meaningful to me. And I just felt like when we talk about the stewardship and the opportunity for growth and development, training was it for me. I found my space in the HR world through helping others learn, grow, and develop because that helped me. So being a good steward and being able to steward people, I mean, I love it. I love the opportunity to share knowledge. And it's not only me sharing knowledge, it's hearing from others. And I feel like when we do that well, we all have the opportunity to grow and develop. And so that's to me is what's most meaningful is share the information that you have, share the knowledge that you have, share the experience that you have, share the uniqueness about who you are. That is what creates thriving and growing cultures and organizations.
And CI, obviously, we have been together for so long. It's like, I know your story. You are more than just a steward from a learning and development perspective. There is another aspect of your life you may or may not want to share that allows you to help bring
Well,
people together.
is that what part is that? Is that like pastoring?
I don't know.
Ah! Yes, that is a part of daily life for me is showing and sharing the good as a pastor, as a leader of others. I really feel like there's more good in the world than bad, and I want to shine a light on that more than anything is to let people know that look for the light. Let's share the light. Let's do that. And I'm grateful that people like you invite me into their space. I feel honored when I have the opportunity to be in somebody else's space.
Well, I think one of the beautiful gifts about you, and Sandy and I go so far back that my oldest son, like she was holding him I don't know, like a week after he was born. Like both of my children, um,
That's my
and,
nephew.
we're both 29, so we've been,
That's right.
we're just new to this whole life. But one of the things that has made you such a great HR leader and a leader of people is your ability to bring empathy, compassion, and create a space where people feel trust and people are open to learn and, I'm going to say fail safely, but fail
Mm.
safely to learn. And oftentimes in being of service to people, and being in the HR space, we foster a lot of difficult conversations, but your ability to translate and help people communicate in the right way and to create inclusive spaces or help people learn, I'm going to say without judgment, but to embrace that aspect of learning, is a gift not many people have. And I blend those. You did not expect me to bring in the other part of
It's
Sandy
all
that you
me.
do. It all is you, and it all brings into you. But that is, I think, one of the things I've admired and I continue to admire of you as an HR leader is your ability to be a human and allow people to, it's okay to be human in the workplace within boundaries, of course, and
Mhm.
all of the things that come with it, because people are messy. But you take aspects of what you do as a pastor and a counselor of people on that side, and you bring in some of those great qualities and translate it on the business side. And so I applaud you and I celebrate all that as you, but I think that's part of your being of service translates great to what your professional career has been, as well as your service career that you do every day. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. So the other question we ask is if there was one moment, one, I'm sure there's many, but one moment that has shaped your HR career or had the most impact or influence, what was it?
So one moment for me that I still share this when I'm doing leadership development and share this with others is I had a leader whom was a phenomenal HR executive that told me, Sandy, you fought really hard to be at the table. If you're going to stay at the table, you need to speak up. As an introvert, so I knew about emotional intelligence. I facilitated emotional intelligence, but I never took a look at myself or didn't really see self awareness and how I was showing up in spaces. And essentially, she was saying, I'm tired of you coming to my office after the meeting and telling me all these great things and thoughts that you have, and you didn't tell it in the meeting. And it was a wake up call. It was like a kick in the gut because I was like, ugh, that hurt. It stung. But the reality is, how many times are we in spaces where we should have said something? I mean, and it would have made a huge difference in the operations, in the culture, in the organization, but we sit silent. And I realized that I'm in spaces taking up space at that point. And I knew that there was something that I no longer could do. Now, I'm not ego driven, so I'm not going to be the loudest voice in the room, but I did learn how to be intentional about sharing my insights or sharing my thoughts in safe spaces with those that I'm around. And I feel like that's really important, and especially as a female HR executive, professional, moving up the ladder. Sometimes we're silent too long and we need to speak up. And so I don't know, other people out there may be experiencing the same thing. You want to move up in your HR career, but you don't say anything.
That is so profound, but it is the reality of, I think, all of us, regardless of the level. And I think there's complexities based on some of the challenges we face in the workplace and perceptions that we face in the workplace, especially with some voices that are not allowed the opportunity. And again, biases, well, we know you do a lot of work on biases and they exist, but the reason it's profound and I had to pause for a minute is because I literally had a conversation with a leader today and it was via text. And I say that because the person is being coached and they reached out to me to say, and they were struggling with a similar thing and they're newer to this leadership team, but they finally had the courage to say what needed to be said and it had not been said for a while. And it was the honest realities of the state of the organization with an issue going on. And it takes a lot of courage for us to find our voice out of fear. If I'm going to say it, are there going to be ramifications? Am I going to be taken seriously? Am I going to be invited to come back? And again, having the courage to say something is so pivotal, not just in our own careers, but somebody seeing you do that will give somebody the courage to do it when their time is as well, because people see us lead or fail to lead, and then those behaviors happen. So I celebrate that. I celebrate the fact your leader basically gave you feedback that you
Yes.
needed and nudged
Yes.
you and said, taking up space, because if we're not there to contribute, what are you there for?
Exactly. I appreciate, and that leader, I mean, we're still connected today, but you know, so often we don't say the obvious things. We just want to get rid of people. And I'm like, that helped me in my career.
So, which is one of the many reasons why, Sandyisms are the best. What would Sandy do? I ask myself that a lot. But Sandy, one last question that we ask everybody, and this is your way to give back to somebody in the community, and maybe it's the person that you just mentioned or somebody. Is there a shout out you want to give somebody that you feel that we need to connect with, that we could value from being connected with them on social media or in real life?
Yeah. So gosh, there's so many people. I'm trying to think of those who are most silent. So the person that I feel like is a good person to connect with, but will never say this for herself, is Christy Step. Um, so anybody who's ever met Christy, you fall in love with her because she is definitely one of those genuine people. Um, that will share her knowledge and experience, and she's led global teams, and she still will sit in the trenches and talk shop with you. So I appreciate her. So that's my one person who's not always in the HR spaces, but is an HR executive, and knowledge and skill and expertise is off the charts.
Now, a little interesting story about Christy Stepp, and I'm a huge fan of Christy. She is one of my favorite people. Is Christy was speaking at a conference, and she gave everybody this index card, this postcard for us to write a note to ourselves and challenge us to do something. I still carry it, and that was 2018. I still carry that postcard in my professional, like I would call it my little professional notebook, my binder that I bring to clients, to meetings, wherever. And it's basically, it was nudging myself to do something that I didn't have the courage to do. And I
Mm,
did it after I heard her speak. And she is legendary in HR circles, but she is one of the kindest humans you will ever meet as well. And now she is helping she took that knowledge in one organization and she's helping others empower their leaders to do some of the same things she's done. So yes, first of all, phenomenal speaker, phenomenal woman,
yes.
phenomenal person. Definitely connect not just with Sandy Harvey here, but you're going to want to connect with Christy Stepp. And we're going to give you the opportunity to do that at the end of our conversation. So there'll be a slide that you can click on that QR code and be able to connect with Christy and tell them Sandy sent you.
Yes, do that.
Well, Sandy, as always, so for those that don't know, Sandy and I live a mile and a quarter away from each other. And so we get
Around
to
the
see each other
corner.
frequently. We're around the corner. There is a nacho meeting scheduled. It's plotting. strategic nachoing that's happening. But Sandy, it is always, anytime I get a chance to sit down, I learn something more and more about you every day. And I've known you for like 20 years or 23 years.
Well,
But so grateful to have this opportunity for you to be able to share your story. And we hope that all of you listening found this HRUnite Convo for Connections meaningful. And we cannot wait to bring you many more of these conversations. So the more we share a story, the better we all become.